Here are 9 subtle changes in the Bug Strike Back update that you may have missed. Grubs have become significantly more important in the 0.13 update because the grub hide drops are used for upgrading your armor and you need a lot of them. However, when farming for them, you run the risk of digging up a larva. We've all experienced that moment of being caught off guard by a larva coming to the surface. They strike almost immediately, leaving us little time to switch to the correct gear to strike back. But no more. Obsidian increased the burrowing volume of the larva and they sound more like tumbling rocks compared to the soft, sand pouring sound the grubs make. So now you just have to listen. If it's too loud, it's not a grub. This one is so simple, yet so incredibly helpful. When breaking objects like rocks, quartzite, or many others, the items no longer scatter across the ground. They simply drop in a pile, making it quicker to gather everything and move on. When the Hot and Hazy update came out, antlions were unavoidable once they spotted you. It didn't matter how far you ran, they would pop up right underneath your feet. But now, they pop up where you were standing at the time they go completely underground. Now you don't have to time your blocks from an attacking creature you can't see. Or maybe you just needed enough time to run away. You do what you gotta do. Antlions spawning around the edge of the sandbox isn't new, but how they behave when they do is. Antlions that spawn on the edge don't dive underground. Once they're there, you can always see them. This sets you up for the kill from a distance if you don't feel fully prepared to take them on with a blade. But in my experience, you won't always find them on the edge, so you can't depend on it for easy farming. I remember strolling across here only having to avoid the soldier ants and those tiny tanks they call dust mites, which have thankfully been nerfed. But now, all the black ants up here are instantly aggressive, and I didn't even do anything! So collecting everything up here just got a touch more difficult. The last 4 changes I've noticed involve some speculation. In this section up here, it's still being worked on, but I think it's worth mentioning. In the last update, this area was left with nothing but sprigs and rocks. Now, they not only added some grass back in, but new plants we haven't seen yet, and the terrain here has been completely reworked. It's a beautiful area so far, but I'm hoping the new greenery is harvestable in some way. I don't like that some of the existing plants have been in the game and still can't be cut down, nor the fallen leaves. There have been some other changes up here as well. The fence coming from the shed is now a brick wall. The upper pond section has been detailed a bit more with stones layered down into it. And this jar here that you can only access after making your way underground. If you follow the general direction that the tunnel turns, you come across this rock that looks like it was placed perfectly to not let you in. Either it'll go away once the area is opened, or maybe be replaced with a cracked rock. I'm sure we'll find out soon, but I can't wait to see what new bugs dwell within. Oh, and there's some new eerie music as well. When the sandcastle was added, you could go down this tunnel. It didn't lead anywhere, so I thought it was just a spot to camp and wait out the sun. But now, they have blocked it with a rock. They've mentioned before that the Sandbox Lab is unfinished, so perhaps this will be an exit and we can all avoid building a bridge over that moat? It wouldn't make sense to have the story move here after collecting the other super chips and defeating the assistant manager, considering that the anthill does lead us into the sandbox. But judging from the distance from the castle to the current entrance of the lab, it looks like this lab could be even bigger than the Black Anthill lab. There's a block of wood at the shed that just seems too out of place. I'm not sure if it's new or if I've just missed it. However, if you push into it just right, you can see through the geometry, and right there in the center is a hole. But not just any hole, it's a perfectly cut hole. And where else do you see these kinds of holes? That's right, lab entrances. Story-wise, I would speculate this would come after the Sandbox Lab and lead us into the currently unfinished area. Or maybe even into the shed. That would actually be really cool. Well, that's some subtle changes I've noticed in the Bug Strike Back update. If you've noticed any other changes, I'd love to hear them, so please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for listening to my speculations, and thank you for your support.